Hi, Haunted Family. Welcome back to another episode. So, in my opinion, hospitals and nursing homes can be a little creepy. I heard it once said that everyone who works in a hospital has a ghost story. While that's probably not exactly true, I've definitely heard more than a few ghost stories from hospitals. Enough to make me a little on edge when visiting people in hospitals. So, sit back, enjoy the show, and if you like it, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give me a thumbs up. Story 1. The Morgue. Just recently, our hospital closed the basement offices. They claimed the frequent mishaps, flooding, and accidents in the basement offices made the area untangible for professional use. Primarily, they complained about the frequent flooding. There is no body of water within miles of this hospital. I personally know better. Back in the 1970s, I worked in law enforcement. I had been on the job only about 3 years. Felt very confident that nothing could rattle me. I was macho and fearless, a big man with a gun complex. Oh, that would change. In the basement area was also a break room with snacks and telephones and showers available for medical staff, law enforcement, and firefighters. It was open 24 hours a day, and I frequently stopped by in the middle of the night to clean up after rolling around in the dirt with the suspect. One night I was down in the basement, near my EOS. It was about 4 o'clock in the morning. I was absolutely alone. I needed to clean up after a scuffle with a DUI suspect. I looked forward to a brief break and some hot coffee. To this day, I cannot fully comprehend what happened. For years, it gave me the creeps. I was just about to sip on some coffee when the cup was slapped out of my hand by a powerful blow. I did not see anyone else in the basement. I felt a cold, freezing chill around my neck and face. I was on high alert, feeling that I was being assaulted, but with no suspect in sight. I was just backed against the wall, with my hand on my Smith & Wesson. Seconds later, a male voice screamed, "Get your ass out of my space. You don't belong here. I do." I was so spooked that I pulled my service weapon, and I dropped to the ground in a defensive position. I searched the entire basement, including the morgue. There was not a living soul in the area. Still thinking there might be a prowler or deranged mental patient hiding somewhere, stalking the basement, I called for backup officers. To my amazement, both officers said, "You just got your first experience with the ghost that's been tormenting us for years." They didn't even bother searching the area. I can't recall what all these officers told me about their own experiences, but they were all pretty similar to mine. None of us ever went back to the break room. We started taking our breaks at the other hospital in town. I'm retired now, and my personal physician has his office in that old basement. The first time I went in for an appointment, I was very uncomfortable. So I told my doctor about the experiences, and he chuckled and said that all the staff was well aware of the ghosts. Oh yes, the good doctor told me that there's no less than 6 different ghosts that prowl that basement. Well, I'm kind of glad that they're moving the offices out of the basement. Definitely won't be as odd visiting my doctor now. Story 2. House and Hospital. There was a house standing on our property when we bought it. It had originally been owned by an old eccentric man, but we tore that house down and built our own. I'm pretty sure that that man had died in his home. The only rooms we kept from the original house was the main bathroom. The main bathroom was about 5 by 4 feet, pretty small. The ground floor of the house my father used as a clinic/mini hospital. My dad was a doctor. Many women would come to our house for OB appointments and to deliver their babies. Sometimes the babies don't make it. It wasn't uncommon for clinic staff to start hearing the small cries of babies late at night, even when we didn't have babies staying in the hospital. And then we started hearing small footsteps on the stairs coming up to the residential section of the building. Sometimes, if Dad was working late, I would go down the stairs to check on him. One night, he asked me to go lock the garage door, so I did. I had to walk a short hallway to get to the garage. Well, I was walking, and I had this feeling that someone was watching me, but I know I was all alone. One of the scariest things was what I refer to as the night puller. One night, I was sleeping in my bedroom that I shared with one of my smaller brothers. My brother was fast asleep, snoring actually. Then, all of a sudden, I felt my blanket moving towards the bottom of my bed. I looked, and it was slowly sliding towards the lower end of my bed, down under the bed. I was so shocked that I tried to scream, but I couldn't. When I woke up the next morning, my blanket was all crumpled up in a ball, sitting on my reading chair on the opposite side of the room. Story 3. Night Shift. I've worked in several nursing homes since 1997, so I've had plenty of run-ins with restless spirits. This one nursing home, there are 3 different wings: north, east, and west. West wing is the heavy hall, mostly feeding tubes and total care. East wing is Medicare and short-term rehab. Then there's north. North has a pretty eclectic mix of patients, with differing levels of care. There was a short hall and a long hall. However, to the back of North Wing, there was a long hall that had about 10 private rooms, a day room on one end of the hall, and a small dining room on the other. Residents back on this hall, called the 400 Hall, were all ambulatory, and even a few wanderers. Now, generally, I worked 3 to 11, but on this particular night, the 11 to 7 girl was sick, so I was asked to stay. As I was off the next night, I agreed. Since I was working a double, I was given the assignment on the 400 Hall. It was usually an easy assignment, as most of the residents were content, and the few that wasn't was really lightweight. Anyhow, I was sitting in the dining room with the lights off, charting by the dim hall lights, when I caught something out of the corner of my eye, moving down the hall. Thinking it was one of my wanderers, I looked up and saw what to this day I still believe was a toddler on a tricycle. Let me tell you now, I lost it. The ADL book went flying, and I skittered up the short hallway to the nurse station. I relayed my story to the charge nurse, and she just sort of chuckled at my expression and explained that one of the residents that had passed away years ago had a grandson that was killed by the back tires of her car. He was in the driveway, and she didn't see him and backed right over him. The night the lady died, she was calling out, "Tyler, oh my baby Tyler, Nana's coming," and then she passed. Everyone has come to the conclusion that the toddler on the tricycle still haunts the hall, looking for his grandma. Either way, I never worked another 11 to 7 on 400 Hall again, and I've never forgot that little toddler on a tricycle. Story 4. The Orb. After a busy evening in the long-term care facility where I worked, one of the nursing aides was helping me do a check of all the residents' rooms, making sure all the windows were closed, all the residents were safely sleeping, etc. As we made our way up the hall, she went in one room, and I went to the next. I left the hallway door open to allow a little bit of light into the room, so I wouldn't have to turn on the overhead light, possibly waking someone. There was enough light so that I could see all 4 residents sleeping. Windows were closed. Everything was fine. As I turned to leave, my eye caught something of a glowing orb, which appeared to move across the room and disappear behind bedside curtains. Still wondering what I had just seen, I went back out into the hallway, at the same time as my coworker came out of the room she had been checking. At the same time, both of us said, "I think I just saw a ghost." Same words, same time. We had both seen a glowing orb. She saw it cross her room and disappear. I saw it travel across my room and disappear. We figured it must have been one of our deceased residents coming back for a visit.